but you were moving at a slow pace. Kingdom isn't worth it when paradise is in the fast lane. Telling you the truth will break your heart.
Hey folks, welcome to New Music 30, that online show that gives you all of the lowdown on what's going on in the Indianapolis music scene and all around us. Come and check out all the fantastic music that we have in all of our shows, so please go back and watch some of those older episodes. But today, episode number 8, got a good friend of mine. Her name is Lumane. Let's get right to the interview. All right, Laura, thanks for being on the show today. Good to have you. It's been a minute since I've seen you.
Hey, thanks. I know. It's been a while. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm glad you got stuff going on. Everybody's got their quarantine thing happening.
Yeah.
Looks like did you do any of this during, are you recording? Are you just kind of sunk into the same old?
Yeah.
What's going on with you?
Well, I've actually finished recording a year and a half ago. So I really didn't go into the studio to record anything during this time. I pretty much stayed at home. As always, you write music all the time. Not really record anything, but just write so you have something to do, right? Yeah. And be creative at the same time. But I didn't go into the studio. To me, it's just been, like any other day, really. Nothing much has changed for me. Like my everyday kind of life, most of my life is in front of the computer, at home, or in my studio making music. So for me, nothing much has changed.
So yeah, I'll tell you what, I was actually a little bit, surprised by what you sent me. Not in a bad way. It was more of a, to tell you the truth, I didn't really know what to expect from studio work from you, because all I've ever seen of you is you and a keyboard live. And that is literally completely different than what you've got going on in the studio. So when I listened to your stuff that you sent me, I was like, oh, good.
Something else. Yay.
Good. It's, and welcome to the first woman on the show too.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I have, I'm really trying to, there are, like you said, there's issues in the Indianapolis music scene where it's like white guy with guitar is 85% of the, what you're, if not higher, of what you're going to see out live at a show. So, but
and it's not just in indie. Honestly, the whole music industry is like 20% women only and 80% guys. It's insane, right? And then for people of color, it's even harder, right? So, yeah. So I appreciate
so that's what I'm really trying to do.
Helping with this.
That's what I've always been. Let's make it cool for everybody. Let's try, because that's really, to me, that's the show I want to watch.
Absolutely.
I want it to be new music 30 for me too. I want to hear every time that I get somebody on, I want to kind of go, oh, that's what you got going on. That's really cool. So so I was pleasantly surprised that, the production was completely different than what I had stuck in my head, was completely different from what I'd seen you do.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way that, you could do so much in the studio that doesn't represent what you are live, and the other way around. And, for somebody that's just only lightly familiar with what you do at a live show, I didn't know what to expect. So let's talk about
it's a whole lot different, for sure.
Let's talk about some of those songs. I've got the list kind of hiding over there so I can refer to it. Any particular order you'd like these to be in on the on the show? Are they all from your kind of most recent project?
Yeah. So I have 3 singles out, off of the album that's going to come out later this year. Okay. And the first one that I released, Taboo, I released actually exactly a year ago yesterday. What day is it today? Monday? Yeah, yesterday, the 12th, July 12th, a year ago.
Yeah.
And then Letters came out in fall that same year, 2019. And just a week and a half ago, July 3rd, I released White Lies. So that's my newest single. There was quite a big gap in between Letters and White Lies, like 9 months. But yeah, it's kind of the order of where I like when I release them, but
Okay.
I don't really.
Sure. Yeah, let's do them in that order. So tell me about Taboo. That was the first one you said.
Yeah, that's the first one I released exactly a year ago. Yeah, so man, Taboo, like it's the first single. You're always super excited. I didn't like know which order I should release the songs in because I have them already, right? Like all 8 songs on the album. There's going to be 8 songs. I had them already, and I was like, which one should I like release first? And I felt really strongly about Taboo because I think it's a fire song, like all of my songs. Humble, right? Uh,
Hey, if
but
you're not your own biggest promoter, who's gonna be, right?
right, my mom loves my music too. But yeah, no, you got to believe in your stuff, right? Like if you don't believe in your stuff, no one's gonna believe in your stuff either.
Right.
So no, I love Taboo. It really spoke to me because like not like first of all, I wrote it, right? I had a couple co-writers, like I wrote it with other people, but obviously like I wrote it, so it was very personal, but like the story behind it too is like is basically my life. It's literally my life. So the whole song is about a relationship, right? A taboo relationship. So it's basically the story of how my husband and I met, which is a
Nice.
really odd story, but I love it. So I decided to write a song about it. But yeah, it's really my story, really. Yeah, truly.
You knew I was off limits before we even met. They told you not to risk it, but you had your mindset. I could have fallen for anyone. Why did it have to be you? I wasn't looking to find love, but you can't tell your heart what to do. Me plus you is taboo. Me plus you is bad news. Look out, what a dangerous mess we're getting ourselves into. Me plus you is taboo. Me plus you is bad news. Look out, what a dangerous mess we're getting ourselves into. Your lips did all the talking without saying a word. I swore I wouldn't cross this, but the line got kinda blurred. I could have fallen for anyone. Why did it have to be you? I wasn't looking to find love, but you can't tell your heart what to do. Me plus you is taboo. Me plus you is bad news. Look out, what a dangerous mess we're getting ourselves into. Me plus you is taboo. Me plus you is bad news. Look out, what a dangerous mess we're getting ourselves into. Business and pleasure don't mix so well together, but I think I found a treasure that's worth the pressure, the pressure. Business and pleasure don't mix so well together, but I think I found a treasure to last forever, forever. Yeah, you knew that I was off limits. Yeah, you knew that you had to risk it. Oh, we are taboo. Yes, we are taboo, taboo, taboo. Me plus you is taboo. Me plus you is bad news. Look out, what a dangerous mess we're getting ourselves into. Me plus you is taboo. Me plus you is bad news. Look out, what a dangerous mess we're getting ourselves into.
Awesome. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that process. Like when you're going to the studio, are you doing stuff at home? Are you, do you have like a particular studio that producers or engineer people that you work with? I like to give a little bit of that behind the scenes because I think a lot of musicians will watch this show.
Mhm.
And, it's like, well, like, who are you working with? Where is it, you know, did you just gut it up and figure it out and do it at home? Did you like go to
Mhm.
somebody that's, got a bunch of other stuff under their belt? Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that like for my stage of musician, right? Like I am a nobody at this point. My like the whole like process, recording process, writing process is unique. So I had a team assembled. So I actually have a manager down in Nashville, Tennessee, and he assembled a whole team for me. So all I did to prepare for my writing sessions and recordings, like writing sessions, uh, was basically think of a song title and think of what I want to say in the song and just show up.
Nice.
So like I didn't have anything like anything musical written in my head, any like specific lyrics or anything. So I just drove down to Nashville in my car and I just showed up to the studio. My co-writer Kalian was there and the producer Matt was there. Matt is, oh my gosh, the most amazing guy I have ever met. He's a Grammy nominated producer. So he's out there, he's done
Mm-hmm.
everything. He's usually mostly in pop, but he just had a country #1 hit like 2 years ago, like his first country #1 hit 2 years ago too. So he's like the man. In my opinion, he's the man. I love him. He's so knowledgeable. Kayleigh too, like she's amazing. I loved everything she did. Together with me and Matt, I think it was a really, really cool team. So yeah, I just showed up and I told them what I wanted the song to be about. And we just started from there. Matt just put together some chords, started adding a beat to it. And basically, um, he produced a demo, basically.
Right.
And Kalian and I wrote the words and the melody over it. So yeah, I feel like it's a very unique writing process. I feel like
It
most
is.
like artists on my level kind of they write a song and then they go record it in a studio. But for
Right.
me it was much more like a collaboration kind of thing, and let's all do it together to really get the best result possible. Because I mean these days almost no songs out there, at least on the radio, almost no songs are written by just one guy or
Right.
one girl, right? It's all collaboration. And I love that. Even though I'm an introvert, right? I love
Right.
that. It was
Right.
super cool to see some other perspectives because, like they're the veterans. They're the amazing, like they've been doing this for a long time. So I got to learn so much from them, which is absolutely amazing. So just me being in there as a little chick, right? Just a little tiny chick, learning, growing some real feathers. It was real cool. I liked it. Yeah. So I did an internship at a recording studio for 2 months. So I'm from Switzerland, right? So that was
Right.
way back when. That's when I lived back there. Actually, that's not true. It was in between me moving from New York to Boston. I had 2 months where I had to figure out what I was going to do. So I did an internship in a recording studio in Switzerland, like the biggest um, recording studio and like whole management company. Like they're all in one place, and
Sure.
so they have like the biggest Swiss artists there. It was so cool. I got to meet like some of these people there that just like walked in the studio, right? Recorded some stuff. I got to sit in on sessions. Like it was amazing. So that's really, really cool. So I did an internship there, and my job was basically write and record and like fully produce all the way up until the mastering. So I had to do everything and like with the mixing. Then the mastering, my boss did that. But I fully
Sure.
produced 2 songs all by myself. So I did that too. But I
Right.
had a studio, like a whole studio that I could use whenever it was free, like open.
Yep.
So that was really, really cool. So I did that too. I just never released those songs.
Right.
But I did it. I did it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a
Even
really cool
even
experience too.
that adds even more wonderful layers to that whole thing because, like I said,
Mhm.
I wouldn't belittle anyone that doesn't know how to record their own thing. It's like, well, that's a ridiculously esoteric kind of skill set that
Yeah. Hey,
it's
I
good to
mean,
have the
like
understanding of.
absolutely, absolutely. I think it's really, really good to have the basics because if you understand if you can produce a very, very basic demo, right? Like just your voice and whatever instrument you play, and put a beat under it or something, like whatever the demo needs, whatever you want from the song. Then you can give that to a producer and be like, look, this is what I am hearing in my head. Take this and make it awesome. Right? That's then the producer's job. I mean, it's the same with like surgeons, right? Like they're specialized in whatever they're doing, right? So why should it be different for us musicians, right? Like we have our thing that we're awesome at, and it is so okay. It is more than okay to get help from other people, because that's what everyone does. Like all the major artists in whatever genre they're in, none of these people are doing it on their own. It's just not possible.
Right.
I mean, I guess it is possible, but very rare. Most people don't do that.
Right.
Right.
All right, let's talk about letters.
Yeah. All right. Well, what would you like to know?
I don't know. Tell me a little bit about the song.
Yeah.
You know, like I like a little backstory. You know, it doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to tell me every single thing about that, but you know, a little of the backstory, maybe. And you know, if this was part of that same, you know, you wrote all these songs in like writing sessions like that?
So all the songs that I've written for the album were all the same kind of setup, right? I have an idea, I have the song title. Like for me, it's always really important to have a cool song title, right? So like, you know, if it's something like super generic, then, you know, you're not going to grab the listener's attention from the very beginning. And that's what it's all about, right? Like we just said, because you have so much competition right now, or like competition, you know, so many other people that are doing the same thing as you that want to get their music heard, it is so much harder to stand out. So to me, it starts with that. What's the first thing people are going to see? It's the song title, right? Before they hear anything. So
Sure.
Letters, you know, itself, not that great, but it was actually going to be like Burning Letters or something like that. But the way it fell in the song, like in the chorus, it just didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So either the song title was going to be way too long, or it wasn't exactly the way it was in the song, and I didn't like that idea either. So I just shortened it to Letters. But technically, yes, the whole process was the same. I go in with a song title and an idea of what it is, and we just figure it out together. So the way I actually came up with the song title and like the idea behind it was, I was oh my goodness, actually back then I still lived in Nashville. I had an apartment in Nashville for a little bit, and my apartment complex had a pool, and it was amazing. So it was just laying around the pool. It was the most beautiful day, and I saw the letters on my apartment building, and they were like reflecting the sun, so it looked like they were on fire. So it was super cool. So that's where I had like the idea of like Burning Letters. Again, we ended up shortening it to just Letters, but that's where the idea, like the song title, came from.
It doesn't mean what it used to. All the words on a page of time we shared together, they're just taking up space. So what you looking for anyway? When you come around here, when you come around here, what you looking for, baby? Asking me if I'm alright. Well, I burn all your letters, I threw out your clothes. I'm not sentimental, better off on my own. 'Cause people falling in and out of love, people falling in and out of love all the time. So don't worry about me, I'm doing just fine. You thought that all of this mattered. Try to keep me holding on, but I guess I know better. 'Cause getting over you didn't take long. Well, I burn all your
Tell us about that last video, White Lies. Now, that's the live one. That's you on keyboard doing what I
Yes,
would expect from, what I
that's what
expect.
you know.
Right.
Yeah. So it's so interesting for me to White Lies is my latest single, right? Just came out July 3rd, and it's so interesting for me to take the produced version and make something out of it that is just voice and piano, right? Like, sure, I do play guitar a little bit, but I am like, the piano is my home, right? Like, that's what I grew up playing. I will always go to the piano first, because I'm just so much more comfortable with it. So
Sure.
I was like, man, like, how can I get that same feeling from, the produced version with just one instrument? But then at the same time, I was like, well, do I want the same feeling, or do I want to, like, on purpose make it just a little bit different, right? So I think, like, with that video, with that acoustic version of White Lies, I think it's a mix of both. It's a mix of, like, it is, you can definitely tell that it's an acoustic version of the produced version, but it's kind of similar. But at the same time, I tried to also make it different, right? So for example, the, like, truth or dare you to, right? Like that bridge there, I tried to really pull back all the way and do some different things with my vocals as well, to, like, almost get, like, a different version of the song, like an acoustic version of the song that's truly different from the recorded version. But the beginning of the version, like the acoustic version, is kind of similar to the produced, like, full song, as much as you can, right, with just one instrument.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
It
I
was
do.
challenging. It was challenging. Like, you have to, like, step back, like, truly get to your roots again. You can't rely on anything. It's just you and your voice and your piano.
If we're being honest, you and I are addicts. I will make a promise that'll have to be broken. Telling you the truth won't bring you on. Don't wanna see you in pain. Telling you the truth won't leave you scarred and make you go insane. White lies, white lies. I can't give you what you want. White lies, it's not feeling all that wrong. And trust me, it's for the best. I don't wanna leave a mess, so there ain't no harm in telling white lies to keep you in the dark. Oh, 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 oh. We were almost perfect, but you were moving at a slow pace. Kingdom isn't worth it when paradise is in the fast lane. Telling you the truth won't bring you on. Don't wanna see you in pain. Telling you the truth won't leave you scarred and make you go insane. White lies, I can't give you what you want. White lies, it's not feeling all that wrong. And trust me, it's for the best.
Like if I could choose, honestly, all I would do would be co-writing my songs and singing them. I wouldn't even play an instrument.
Really?
I am a singer through and through. That is what I do. And like there is a difference when you hear me sing when I'm just singing versus when you hear me sing and I'm playing an instrument at the same time.
Sure.
My singing is so much better when I just sing. And like my whole performance and everything, because that's me. That's truly me.
Right. Right.
That's what I want to do, right? Like if I could choose, that's all I would do.
Tell us where we can find you online. Tell us all the like things and the places that you, and all of the good stuff. Where can these good people find you online to listen to your stuff elsewhere?
Yeah, so I mean, social media is where it's at, right? Like I have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm gonna be honest with you, my Instagram is my most like used app that I use. Like
Sure.
it's the most up to date. It's where where I'm posting the most, right? So
Right.
it's just at Lumane Music through all platforms. It's the same for every platform. Obviously YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming platforms and all that good stuff. And yeah, again, like I just released a week and a half ago, White Lies, right? So I still have more music that I want to release. So,
Awesome.
click that follow button and that way you won't miss out on any new stuff that I'm releasing because it's coming for sure. Pandemic or no pandemic, it's coming, right? I've been
Right.
sitting on this for 2 years. I'm ready. I'm ready to get this out there for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Lumane, thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out with me for a
Thank
little bit.
you. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Like, this is amazing. This gives you something to do, and it
Right.
gives us performers, artists, singers, songwriters. It just gives us, another way to connect with more people that we wouldn't usually, connect with. So thanks for giving us a platform as well.
No problem. All right.
Awesome.
Well, let's get out of here. I'm going to let this thing render and do its magic and make
All
some
right.
food.
Sounds
Spaghetti
good.
time.
Yeah.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
doing
so
the show.
much. I appreciate it. Oh, of
Have a
course.
great
Of
night.
course. You have a good night.
You
Bye.
too. Bye-bye. Well, folks, that's all we've got for you tonight. Thanks for tuning in. You guys are the real heroes. Thanks for watching the show. And special thanks to Lumane for bringing all of her cool music for us to listen to tonight. Go follow her on all the socials. Go follow her on Spotify and all those good things like that. And we will see you here again next week for another episode of New Music 30. See you next time.
We were almost perfect, but you were moving at a slow pace. Kingdom